Hey guys, back with another video, and today I saw a video made months ago from this creator Kira, she's a Pokemon collector, not really an investor or anything. I think I saw her when she went live with Team Rocket Joey, and this video, Nostalgianomics' latest video, is weird. It's 4 months old, but I was watching and I heard something that made a lot of sense, and let's take a look.
If you can buy into the stuff at a reasonable price and you hold it for a number of years, it increases in value due to scarcity.
This is true. Okay.
And yeah, she goes on to admit that this is true, and yeah, all sealed products they do go up over time, and all investors know that, and that's why we buy into these products. However, her next point, I never really thought of it like that, but it doesn't make a little sense to me, and I just wanted to let everyone know.
Okay, the products do tend to appreciate well over time. That has always been true. But that was when not every single person and their mother and their dog were doing the same thing. We're all saving the same products. There is no scarcity with these specific Scarlet and Violet products that released when the boom happened, okay? The Prismatic, the Surging Sparks, all that shit. There's no scarcity whatsoever there. They're all just sealed, sitting in people's basements and shit. Even 151. 151 was a heavily printed set. The prices for 151 are so not justifiable at all. When everyone's doing the same thing, like, the value isn't going to hold. As of right now, I wouldn't buy that shit at market price. Absolutely fucking not. If you do...
Well, her point about 151, I can't really fully agree on it, because 151, it was released during the bear market and not everyone wanted a product. So I think it's printed pretty heavily because Pokemon, they know people like the nostalgia behind the 151. However, it is sitting in shelves, and Pokemon is a business first. If the products are sitting in shelves and not selling instantly, there is not a big need to print a bunch of these. As you can see with the Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes, the regular Elite Trainer boxes, and even the Ultra Premium collection, they resell at such a high value because Pokemon just did not print enough of it. It did get printed a lot, however, it's not enough, and the hype never really took off until Surging Sparks and Prismatic Evolutions. And those are the sets where Pokemon decided, oh, we really need to print more of these because the demand is now here now. I'm pretty sure Pokemon orchestrated all of this. However, her point where everyone is just keeping it sealed, yes, that does make a lot of sense. And that is my biggest worry about investing into Prismatic Evolution, Surging Sparks, Destined Rivals, all these older sets. Because I was trying to make a new video here, but let's take a quick look at Prismatic Evolution really quick. Okay, please show me Prismatic Evolution. Let's take a look at the really quick the Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes. Where is it? All right, let's take a look at the regular Elite Trainer box. There are 3,000 of these, and this is a pretty reasonable number. However, we literally saw Costco release 150,000 of these, you know. And there's so many other websites that release Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box, not Pokemon Center, regular Elite Trainer boxes. So a lot of people, yes, they are just throwing these in their basements and stuff. I'm pretty sure, what's his name? Nostalgianomics. He said he bought cases and cases and cases of these. So it's all just sitting in his house. Vapor Self, he has a bunch of these. So there are a bunch of these out there, and a lot of new investors, they, you know, including myself, we all know Prismatic Evolutions is such a great set. You know, it has never touched MSRP yet in its whole lifetime being out, and I don't think any other Pokemon, any other Elite Trainer box or any set has ever done that. So everyone knows Evolutions is very popular. If we just throw it in our basement, you know, it will go up over time, and that's why I am pretty part of the problem. So that's why I'm holding on to all my Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes, while I'm buying so many just to hold in a closet. And her point is right. It's not as limited as we think. There are millions of investors, in my opinion, and we're all just holding on to these products and we're not selling them. But once we start flooding the markets, you know, prices will dip. Like Fusion Strike, you know, it was sitting on shelves for $80. And when prices are that low, people don't like investing into it. you know? Like when the stock market crashes, no one really buys into the stock market. Only the really smart people buy into it. And that's where they make the generational wealth. And even with Fusion Strike, we saw Fusion Strike. Let's take a quick look. Fusion Strike. The booster boxes. If we pull up the... Oh man, I forgot TCG's yearly chart is bad. So, Fusion Strike, Evolving Skies, those booster boxes are all $80 to $120 at some point when no one wanted this. And the smart investors, you know, Team Rocket Joey, yes, he did buy it. So there are investors out there that paid $80 for it and held it all the way up. However, when we take a look, once it reached $800, a bunch of people just started taking profits and liquidating it. And Fusion Strike, the Sword and Shield era and Scarlet and Violet era, they're pretty different because there were not that many investors during the Sword and Shield era. Sorry. And Pokemon investing recently just started taking off. You see many investors, including myself, I just made my channel like a month ago to talk about this. There are not that many investors that have their channels from 5 years ago. Like Rudy's the only channel that I know that's extremely old, from 7 years ago, 8 years ago, where he was investing into all of this, you know, Sun and Moon era, all the XY era, every era he was investing into him. Most investors, you know, I think they started the Sword and Shield era, and now they're making YouTube content about the Scarlet and Violet one. So there were not that many hoarders that just instantly bought these and threw it into their basements. You know, most people bought these when it hit $80 as like a gift. You know, Team Rocket Joey, he's a great investor, but he only had 5 of these. You know, he has more Prismatic Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes than Fusion Strike booster boxes, and he got those for MSRP, the Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes. So not many people were actually investing into these. So Scarlet and Violet era, I'm sorry, I can't say that word. She's right. It's not as limited as we think. The products are just sitting in people's basements, like mine. You know, I'm holding on to a decent amount of Pokemon Center version. Pokemon. Okay, let's see. Pokemon Center. Let me pull it up. Okay, here. A lot of people are just holding on to these because they know these will hit $1,000. You know, 5 to 10 years down the line. So no one is selling these, and that is a problem because people do like ripping Prismatic. You know, okay, I don't know about like ripping it, but I really wanted to pull the evolution, so I did rip some of these myself. But normal investors, normal hobby, not hobby, normal collectors, I'm sorry, they don't have the opportunity to rip these because everyone's hoarding them. In Pokemon Center, they don't really drop many times. You know, we saw 2 restocks ready, and I estimate that each of the restocks probably have around 10 to 20,000 Elite Trainer boxes, because the first time they released them, they released 160,000 of them. And if we take a look at the market, there's only 143 quantity listed. You know, it's only, I think, is that 1%? So let's say that the estimated total supply out there is 240,000, and let's say half of them got ripped. That's a pretty good number. So let's say 120,000. So there's less than 1% of supply is being listed. So that means everyone's just throwing it into their basements, closets, like myself. And this product is not as limited as we think. All these Scarlet and Violet products, everyone's holding on to them because we saw what Evolving Skies is doing, what all these Sun and Moon sets are doing, Team Up, all these XY, all these base sets. You know, they're all commanding such a high price value that everyone's just, you know, holding on to every Sword and Shield, not Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet boxes, you know. So this video was a good watch. You know, she's a pretty good collector. You know, she has a poncho back here, Gengar. You know, she collects. So we're kind of messing up their hobby, but for our financial gains. But you know, she's a good collector, and her point made a lot of sense to me. So all Scarlet and Violet investors, get ready for prices to like crash once they get a little high. I am expecting once Prismatic Evolution gets to 500, everyone will start listing. We'll see a bunch of quantity available. drop the price back down. And it's just, you're gonna have to hold this for a while because there are a bunch of these out there. But even after all of that, I still do think this is a great investment. But there are a bunch of these out there, and have a great day.